Hello, Governor. This is Steve, nupefromdaville, and I'm here to talk to you about Doctor Who, Season 10, Episode 6, Extremis. But first, let me tell you a little story. Now, depending on when you see this, it might have happened far before that, but this actually happened to me yesterday. I was at a function for work, and it was a in-person function because I work remote. So we had an in-person function, and it was a nice little shindig. They had a spread and, finger foods and, charcuterie and the whole little deal. And the function of what I do, everyone in the room knew who I was. I didn't know who anyone was except my staff, my other coworkers. I knew who they were. I see them every day on Zoom or, Google Meet or what have you. But then a lot of the other people, the students and stuff, I didn't know who they were. I have to look at their name tag to see who they were and be like, oh, I know that name. But everyone, they saw my name, they knew me. Because, of course, as you guys know, I tend to run off the mouth. Craziest thing happened. You ever experienced deja vu? In case you don't know what deja vu is, it's where something happens and you have the feeling that that entire thing has happened before, and that happened to me. I'm sitting at the table and this dude comes by and weirdly looks me in the face, is like, hey, can I set my drink down right here while I go to the little table and get, whatever I want to eat? And I was like, sure, no problem. And he's like, all right, thanks, buddy. And he walked off. But the craziest thing was, I had seen that entire scene, everything happen before. He walked off to get some food. This other black lady comes over and starts speaking to me, and I'm lost in the sauce because when she came over to speak to me, now I've never seen this woman before, but I had seen her face. I had her talking to me. All of it had happened before. And the first thing my mind went to was the Matrix. Oh, I'm in the Matrix. This is all a simulation. And it just got my mind to go deep and to wonder, especially after watching this episode, which is, to me, I would say an homage to the Matrix, but in that happening in real life really made me question, what is real? Hello, Governor. This is Steve, nupefromdaville, and I'm here to talk to you about Doctor Who, Season 10, Episode 6, Extremis. Now, if you've been with me for any amount of time that you know, I like to keep my recaps short. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I fail miserably. But this is how it's going to go. I give the intro, I do a short story in the beginning, I do a recap, I do quotes, and then a personal thoughts, and then we're out. All right, this episode is wild because after Oxygen, the doctor's still blind, and we get some flashbacks where they go find 12, the doctor, to execute Missy. It doesn't seem like that. It almost seems like the doctor's on trial and he's about to be executed because the dude tells him the only people that can execute you is somebody of your own race, and you are hard to find. And I was like, okay, so maybe it's not him dying. Now it turns out they're executing Missy for some shit she done. But the doctor, being that as far as he's concerned, Missy is the only Time Lord left, Time Lady, whatever, he can't execute her. But one of the stipulations was that he had to guard the body for 1,000 years. And he's like, sure, I'll do that. And he tricked the people and he said, I'll guard the body, but you never said she had to be dead. So I agreed to guard the body for 1,000 years, not that she had to die. And they was like, you can't get away with this. And he's like, listen, you better check my resume. You want tango? You want to go up against the doctor? And they went into their little computer system, pull out their little tablets, and they was like, oh, okay, it's impressive. Oh, okay, yeah, you done some stuff. Oh, 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 shit. Oh, yeah, we don't want that smoke. Oh my God. Oh, you one of one. Yeah, you know what? You got that. You got the doctor being the doctor. Anyway, long story short, couple interesting points in the show. Bill is trying to get her Mac on. She done found a, you know what I'm saying, little sexy ting. She done brings her back to the crib. And before it gets hot and heavy and sweaty, the Pope, like the actual Pope from the Vatican and his little security team, walk out of her bedroom and interrupt Bill and I think old girl's name was Pearl or something, Penny, in the kitchen. What? They need to find the doctor immediately. The doctor needs to come to the Vatican to look up, this text is called the Veritas, and everybody that reads it apparently takes their own life. And they find out that a guy who had been there to translate it, he took a copy of it and sent it to the scientists at CERN at the, I want to say maybe it's the Hadron Collider in Switzerland, I think. And it's one thing, if you know, like the Vatican, so allegedly the seat of Christianity, and scientists who are talking about Big Bang Theory and looking at black holes and all that, that's two things that these people don't agree on. Nothing. What are they doing? Why would dude take the Veritas and send it to the people at CERN? What's going on? Now the doctor's still blind. He's not letting anybody know he's blind. He's got on the sonic sunglasses that give him kind of a 3D, a spatial visualization. Very, very Matrix. We in the Matrix. We lawnmower man in this thing. Now while in the Vatican, while in a secret vault, secret library underneath the Vatican, which is crazy in itself, but it's not surprising that there's an entire secret library full of books that the church just says, nah, we don't think people should read these. Bill and Nardo get separated from the doctor. The doctor's trying to translate the text. Bill and Nardo find a portal, a room full of portals, and they walk into one portal and they're in the White House. And it looks like the president is taking his life. They walk into another portal and they're at CERN. And the people at CERN, they have hooked up a bunch of bombs and they about to blow the whole place up, and they in there sipping the Kool-Aid like this the last days, like the little spaceship about to come pick them up. What the hell? And then all of a sudden these like zombie looking monks come out and they're chasing the doctor. So they start chasing the doctor. There's a trail of blood. Bill finds it and goes into the one that's in the Oval Office. And they find the doctor in the Oval Office, and he said he read the Veritas. And the Veritas describes a demon who was planning on invading Earth. But in order to invade Earth, he needed to know how to do it with no problem. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So what he did was he created shadow worlds. And everyone was in this shadow world, kind of like being inside the Matrix. And they proved it by, you say a number and I'll say the same number, and we can all guess all these same numbers. And a lot of people were committing suicide in the shadow world to escape it. I don't know, I think they killed your real self. I don't really know how it worked. Like the Matrix. If you died in the Matrix, you died in real life. Not like this. Not like. So Nardo had already like disintegrated. He disappeared. The little alien zombie monk, he shows up, and then Bill disintegrates, and the doctor is left by himself. But he tells the monk, listen, you ain't checked my resume. You know how I get down. And all of this, it was kind of like the silent. It's almost like you wouldn't believe that you was in the Matrix if you didn't know. So the doctor said, here's what's happening though. I've recorded everything that's going on the sonic sunglasses, and guess what? Boop. He just hit a button and emailed everything to his real self, and he titled it Extremis. So his real world self got the message, and he goes down to the vault and he tells Missy through the vault doors, yeah, I may need your help. Yeah, that's what's in the vault. Missy. You know that I love my quotes. I only have one today. It's from Dennis Waitley, and he says, if you believe you can, you probably can. If you believe you can't, you most assuredly won't. Belief is the ignition switch that gets you off the launching pad. I'm going to call today's particular media therapy deep dive, what is real? I like that quote because it talks about the idea that belief can be a powerful force that can influence outcomes. It suggests that your mindset or a person's mindset and their conviction, whether it's positive or negative, can significantly impact their ability to achieve goals and navigate challenges. Here's something interesting that I found, and I'm just going to read it to you. Here's something interesting I found, and I'm just going to read it to you. By going back and reading your thoughts, you have a better chance about finding these distortions that are in your belief system. Your thought may appear to be true, but behind the story is a false belief that can cause a reaction. By looking at things from a different point of view, illusions in your mind can be revealed. Really? Okay. You know, people determine their beliefs on how something can make you feel, makes you live, and how they see themselves in the bigger sphere of things, the bigger sphere of the world. You know, the Matrix, when it came out, was a mind-blowing experience. And it led to the credence of other movies like Terminator, where computers, AI, became sentient. It became self-actualized. And it figured out, hey, we don't need y'all humans. Y'all are the weaker species. You have nothing on us. What do we need you for? Until they found out that in the Matrix, that they needed us, but simply for batteries. Because in the Matrix, we try to fight back against the robots, and we used all the missiles and weapons and stuff, because that's what we do when we get afraid. We shoot first, shoot second, shoot a whole lot more before we start asking some questions. Even though we would be responsible for our own demise, which that's obviously coming. We had darkened out the sky, which meant we lost access to the sun. And the sun is responsible for so much on Earth, photosynthesis, and a lot of the other functions that we need to live as humans. So because we had destroyed everything, destroying power plants and all that type of stupid stuff with our missiles and bombs, The robots figured out we'll just use humans as batteries because our body does emanate a certain amount of electric current. That's scary to think of. To be in a simulation world, to be in a shadow world, in the matrix, it is a terrifying thought. Because then you start to think, what can you actually trust? Most people say that seeing is believing. But what does that mean when you can't trust your eyes? Okay, well, ask somebody blind. What does that mean if they can't trust their eyes because their eyes not working? So now they have to trust their senses. Your sense of touch, your sense of hearing, your sense of smell. But what if you can't trust those? In the Matrix, they said something about maybe the robots couldn't figure out what chicken tasted like, so everything tastes like chicken. And it's an interesting quandary. A lot of things people say do taste like chicken. I don't know. Only thing I know tastes like chicken is chicken. But a lot of the other things that people say, ooh, this tastes like chicken. I don't know, because I don't eat that shit. You know, your beliefs, the power of your mind is so powerful that it can single-handedly determine things like your physical health, your financial status, even chances at finding love. You know, how confident you are about yourself. What kind of aura do you project? You know, do you have a positive mindset? People can sense that. The energy that comes off of you, people know that. And your belief system is tied into all of that. Here's 3 things about belief. Your beliefs can influence your behavior. If you believe that you're capable, you're confident, you're competent, you deserve your dream job, you deserve that dream partner, you will actually seek out more opportunities for all of those things to be true. You will be ready when opportunity presents itself. That's because of your outlook on life, because of your belief system. Now, if you don't believe you're worthy, you're intelligent, or any of those sort of things, that also has a direct effect on the outcome of your life. Now, sometimes you've heard it called self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe it, it will be. But that's both positive and negative. If you believe that you're not worthy of having something, you believe that something bad will happen to you, something will happen to you that's not positive. Your beliefs influence your behavior heavily. When I was teaching, we used to call it the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And you probably heard this before. A fixed mindset, you look for all the reasons why something can't happen. It is what it is, and we're just going to leave it be. Status quo was good enough. Growth mindset is like, no, I can learn more, I can be more, we can achieve more. Your beliefs can influence other people's behavior. Now that's heavy. You know, when I look at movies, one of the things I absolutely cannot stand is a bully. Can't stand bullies. I will beat a bully's ass. Now, that doesn't mean that I bullied a bully, but that means I hate bullies to that point that I won't let you bully other people. But that being said, think about any movie you've seen with the bully, and the bully always has a little crew of minions. You know, whether it's Regina George and Mean Girls or some other movie, the little movie, Karate Kid, whoever you call it the bully this week, whether you go all the way back to Johnny Lawrence or where you go to Connor Day, a bully is a bully. And they always have this little crew of dudes that stands behind them and looks at y'all menacingly, and they don't say shit, they ain't shit, but you know, they're backing up their boy, the leader of the crew. Punk ass. The thing is, even though a bully is on the wrong path, their aura, how much they believe in themselves, affects the people around them, and other people roll with them because their strength, their confidence is so high. Now think about most bullies, and most bullies were victims. And at some point when they overcame that victimship, that victimhood, and decided to assert themselves, they liked the feeling of that power and decided, hey, I'm never gonna go back to being a victim again. But you know, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And a lot of times the victim turns into the new bully. Now, that's from a negative standpoint, but it works the exact same being positive. You ever had that person that, you know, will come into the office or always has a great outlook? That's a person that people like to be around, because no matter how shitty your day was, this person comes around and everything gets better. You almost marvel at how they have a positive outlook all the time. Now, you may not know that they are secretly dying on the inside, that life couldn't get worse for them, that they are going through the most turmoil and tribulations possible. But their outlook on life doesn't change. And sometimes that's just putting on a brave face, and that's how you face the world. But sometimes it really does mean that if I continue to make the effort to smile, to thank God for all that has been given to me, including the ability to wake up this morning and breathe air, have another opportunity to do better, then it can't be that damn bad. And you affect people with your positivity. Positivity is contagious, but so is negativity. It doesn't take but one bad apple to ruin the barrel. Last thing is, your beliefs may impact your health. And you ever known people that will go to WebMD and self-diagnose themselves, and they're convinced that they have, I don't know, a tumor, you know, some strange rare disease that only 1 out of a billion people have. You know, every cough, whatever it is, they refuse to go to the doctor. They know everything about themselves. They can, you know, hear that their heart was beating just 1/10 of a second too fast. I don't know, am I having a stroke? They do all that old shit. The way you think about your life can absolutely impact your health. Now, a lot of times you think physical health, but also mental health is extremely important. That plays back into the first two things that were said. But if you want to live longer, outside of your genetics, outside of the DNA that you were born with, and whatever may be in your DNA chain because of your family, if you want to live longer, you have to think positivity over your life. You know, when celebrities pass, like recently, famous celebrity andPersonal passed, and people are mourning and people are way upset, and it's like, wow, this is so sudden, and she was so beloved. The thing especially about celebrity is we know what they allow us to see. The thing about being a celebrity is that almost 100% of celebrities don't share everything with the camera. They may share a lot of their life, and people falsely get the idea that we know people. I know you. I remember last week when you went on live and you had on this one shirt and you looked like you was upset a little bit. And then I remember reading on your Insta later when, you know, you said that your dog wasn't feeling well. And I just want to wish you the best and wish little Fluffy. That don't mean that you know these people. Celebrities have to keep have to keep a certain amount to themselves and a certain amount private. I can't give everything to my adoring public. And depending on where you are on the ladder, it depends on, how much you give to the public. You have streamers like Kai Cenat, who seems like he's live and streams all day, every day. It seems like he gives a lot. But there's a lot of times when the camera's not rolling and he gets to conduct his life in private. But the one thing you don't know is too, especially when you have that type of status, when they turn the camera on, a lot of times I have to project this. If I have 1 million followers, my followers don't want me to depress the shit out of them. They don't want to see me down. They might see that I'm sad, but it has to be temporary. And then they'll chime in and be like, it'll get better or whatever. They type in comments. They might, super chat, send donations or whatever. Just want you to be better. But sometimes you don't know what's really going on. Your beliefs can affect your health. So again, your beliefs can affect your behavior, they can influence other people's behavior, and they can impact your health. Now, going all the way back to what the hell does that have to do with extremists and what is real? That is what is real. If you're in a shadow world, if you're in a matrix and you have a hard time distinguishing what is real and what isn't, there's certain things that you have to be able to rely on. Your belief system. What do you believe? Why do you do what you do? Why do you get up every morning to do X, Y, and Z? And in your belief system, that can absolutely affect your behavior, influence other people's behavior, and impact your health. Now, what would we do if we found out we were in a shadow world and it was like the Matrix? I have no freaking clue. That seems so far-fetched, and God forbid we ever find out that that's real. It's like, they told us in 1999, the Matrix told us, Doctor Who tried to warn you. At the end of the day, what is real? When I pull my kids close and hug them, kiss them, and tell them I love them, that's real. When I wake up in the morning and I breathe air and say, thank you, God, for allowing me to wake up, that's real. When I meet and greet and talk to people and have a smile on my face and I'm not worried about these bills, and that's real. Beyond that, I don't know what else to tell you. Fix your thought patterns. Fix your belief system. Find what is real to you. Find purpose in your life, and you can find what is real. At the end of the day, all we can do is hope that everything else will work itself out. You tell me what's real. This is Rakai Steed, nupefromdaville. Make sure that you like this. Give me a like. Share it with as many people as possible. And leave me some comments on what you think is real, and how does this episode, how does it affect what you're thinking about? What do you think about what I said? And if for some reason you haven't subscribed, listen, hit the button, subscribe. You might find some videos that I've made in the past that resonate with you, and definitely like those, share those, comment on those too. At the end of the day, it's all about this, but even more importantly, it's all about this.